Welcome to the office on Lagos Talks 91.3. It's a beautiful Thursday evening and it's 31 minutes now past the hour of 4. My name is Michelle Ago. I'm your host. And today we have a special guest who will be joining us today. Should I have drum rolls? I guess I should. Her name is Madam Olusola Bolanle Aigbe. She's a certified mediator and negotiator. Welcome to the conversation today and good evening.
Good evening, Michelle. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for joining us today on the show. All right. Today
You're
we'll be
welcome.
talking about managing employer-union relationship. This is a very interesting one. We will be talking about this in details, and our listeners will be joining the conversation via the phone lines or via Twitter to ask questions. But I would like to, of course, tell you a little bit about my guest, you listening to me. Madam Aigbe Olusola Bolanle is a certified culture transformation training consultant. She's also an HR professional, a mediator, negotiator, and widely consulted in the areas of organizational design and development, also change management and industrial relations. She was the Chief Human Resource Officer in Multilinks Telecommunications from 2009 to January 2016. Now, prior to joining Multilinks, she had deployed the aforementioned management tools in achieving corporate objectives at various capacities, of course, in different organizations. She has 6 years experience in teaching, 24 years in manufacturing and service industries, and over 6 years in consulting. Her experience cuts across not-for-profits as well as for-profit organizations, holding different positions such as Director of HR, Human Resource Manager, Industrial Relations Manager, Lead Consultant, Change Management, Faculty Advisor, Negotiator, Mediator, Consultant. She holds a Master of Conflict Management degree from the University of Lagos, Bachelor of Law also from the National Open University Nigeria 2014, and a Master's of Science, that's a master's degree in Industrial Relations and Personal Management from the University of Lagos in 1990. She's also a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria, a member of the Nigerian Institute of Training and Development, an association member of Nigerian Chartered Institute of Arbitrators and Neutrals with Lagos Multi-Door Courthouse. She's a certified user of Richard Barrett's CTT, that's Cultural Transformation Tools. She's a certified Persky Change Management expert, a certified mediator and negotiator, like I said, a certified ODR mediator, a trainer and a facilitator. Like I told you, she was also a teacher. All right. And of course, she's a faculty member and advisor at Foundation for Values Transformation, which is an NGO and collaborating with the National Orientation Agency in Public Advocacy. This is such a rich and diverse profile, and we're very, very excited to have Madam Olusola Bolanle Aigbe join us today to talk about employee union and the relationship that it brings and how better it can be managed within an organization. Again, thank you for joining us on the show today.
Thank you.
All right. Now, we'll just jump right into our question, but remember that the office is proudly brought to you by the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria, that's FCIPM, and Lagos Talks 91.3 FM. So first of all, as you know, we're talking about managing employer-union relationship. For the sake of education, I'd just like to know, and of course for the sake of our listeners, what is a trade union?
Okay, thank you very much. When you talk of trade union, you're looking at the combination of workers and employers coming together. Whether you're talking about temporary workers or workers that are permanent workers, they come together for the purpose, of having a relation, regulations. When you talk of trade union in essence to regulate the work environment, and then to regulate even the terms and conditions of the employees, and also to build the relationship between the management and then the employees, so that there will be a free flow of work, and then to protect the employees as well.
Right.
So,
all right, that's good. So it's a partnership, basically, or a relationship between employers and, of course, the workers. Please state the trade unions that we have in Nigeria. I'm sure we have some of them.
We have a lot of them. I mean, we look at the Nigerian Labour Congress, which is the umbrella of that.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk of ASU because, I mean, because of what is burning right now. You have Pengassan, you have NOPEN, you have Nigeria, the NMA, Nigeria Medical Association. You
Yeah.
have a lot of them. I mean, the top 10, a lot of them like that we can talk about. NOPEN, Pengassan, ASU, the Nigerian Medical Association. You look at the Nigerian Labor Congress,
Mhm.
and a whole lot of them like that. Yeah, there are many. I mean, we'll talk about the top 10.
All right.
So,
So are all
mhm.
these unions regulated by laws? Do they have laws guiding them?
Yeah.
And who are the regulators for each and specific different unions that we have, which of course cater to different needs or unions' objectives? Who are the lawmakers in these areas, and who are they also regulating efficiently, looking at the number of unions that we have?
Mhm. First and foremost, you look at the Constitution itself. When you look at Section 40 of the Nigerian Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, you look at the provision of freedom of association, freedom of to have a trade union, and all of that. So the Nigerian Constitution is not one. Then the primary legislation, when you talk of union, is the Labor Act. Then you look at the Labor Act, then you have the Trade Union Act, the Trade Dispute Act, and all of this. They come to regulate the employment, the relationship between employers and employees. So they are well regulated by different enactments, different acts, which have been in place. But the primary one is the the Labor Act, and then we'll talk of the Constitution itself, which is the ground norm that actually Section 40 talks about the freedom to belong to a trade union, an association, and all of that. So we have quite a lot of them, and then we now narrow it down to each um, of these
Union.
union
Yeah.
being regulated by their own sectors. I remember I've been in various sectors. I was in multi-lanes, I've been in so many sectors. You have the one for food and beverages. You have a lot of them. We have more than 20 something, but we're talking about the top 10, So a lot of them are being regulated, because they have areas that are peculiar to their own organization, and so they have their own unions too, and they perform in that state. But you have the Nigerian Labor Congress as an umbrella body as well.
Who is to tell if these unions are representing the sectors very, very well? There are some unions that people do recognize or do relate to based on where they work or what they do for a living. However, sometimes they
Mm.
feel as though their needs are not being met by those in these unions. They are not well represented, so to speak. We can talk about ASU. Take ASU for an example. There are
Mm.
teachers who do not really believe in this strike, but they are forced to stay home. They also feel as though their needs or objectives for what the educational sector is not being represented properly by those in ASU. It's been overridden by their own needs. So sometimes it's divided. I'm just wondering if there are cases like this, and how do these unions get properly represented, and reflect the needs and objectives of those who are in it. Who is to tell whether they're being represented well or not? And what happens when they're not being properly represented?
Well, you can only tell from the outcome of what they profess to be the advocacy and what they're actually fighting for. Take ASU that you mentioned, for instance. Unfortunately, I mean, the issue of ASU have been on for a very long time. I mean, you date that back to how many presidents now? It didn't even start with Obasanjo regime. They had a series of negotiations and it didn't go anywhere, because the truth of the matter is that when they have this collective bargaining, they promise things that probably will not happen. And I keep telling people that you look at it in mediation and in negotiation, which we do. I look at people. Let's start from a very small mediation. A is owing money and he says, okay, I want to be paying back money. I want to be paying you 400,000 in a month. And you look at that person that wants to be paying back 400,000 in a month, he probably is earning 100,000 in a month. So you now wonder, how do you want to pay 400 in a month when you know that your pay is 100,000? So it's the same thing with ASU issue. I mean, I sympathize with them. All those points that they are raising with government are actually germane. But the truth of the matter is that when you accumulate a lot of debt and all of that, you look at the people that you are negotiating with. How would they come to terms with all these things, and then you agree with them and you go. You know quite all right that what is on ground is huge, and they may not be able to, to follow through with their promise. But they just want everything to go, and it's okay. You sign the paper and then you go, and then you look at it that it's not realistic. So a lot of times it comes in like that. But let me come back to the issue of when we were in the manufacturing and all of that. We have a lot of negotiation, and you know what we negotiate anyway. We look at the wage and all of that, and even at that too, you know that these trade unions are made up. The sectors are made up of the high and mighty. Let's take, for example, when you look at CAMPEV, Chemical and Non-Metallic Employers Association, you have the likes of Unilever, you have the likes of the cement industry, Lafarge, and you have some very low organizations. So before they even say hi, for people like Lafarge, they want to do more than even the minimum wage, and they go and then they do more than the minimum wage. Well, there are some that you have to go down and you have to go and renegotiate at the local level, because they cannot even meet up with the minimum wage. So they are not the same. So those are the kind of problems that you have there. So when they now go to that kind of organization, they now say, oh, they are not respecting what the union had negotiated. And you can't rule out, I mean, the situation now, because I know that I started, with the textile and labor, and textile in those days, in the days of the Adams or Shomale, was a very powerful union. But you can't speak. How many industries do you have? How many textile companies do you have in Nigeria now? So for someone to now say they are strong and they're negotiating at that table, it's not going to work, because first and foremost, it's because there's a job. That's why you talk about unionism in the first place. Right. If there's no job, if the things are not there, then what are you talking about? I used to tell them when we were negotiating those days, I said, well, relax. You are a union person because you have a job here. The job first. So you need to talk. You need to be a partner so that you see how we can work together so that this organization will not go down, so that you still have a job. Unfortunately, a lot of these places are closing down. And so the power of the union is being whittled down, and they can't really ask and demand just like they used to do in the times of old. So those are the kind of things that are actually affecting. It's not as if, well, I will rule out the possibility also that some of the people that claims to be representing them may be selling out. They may not really be walking the talk. But at the same time, there are so many things that are actually, affecting the kind of the negotiation and then the power of the trade unions that we have now. They are not like the way they used to be in the times of old.
All right, thank you. Now, for the benefit of those who are listening and who are definitely trying to maybe understand the conversation better, what are the roles of these trade unions in the workplace? Maybe if we understand their purpose, their role, we can better understand what they do, or even those in the unions who might have lost direction. They don't know what to do next. Like you rightly said, there are many of the sectors that are, or industries, sorry, that are sinking, and you can tell it's just bad leadership. So what truly is the role of these trade unions, and what are they supposed to achieve for these sectors and industries?
Actually, basically, the first thing in their mind is the collective bargaining. I mean, to regulate the wages and the conditions of service of the employer, of the employees, and then to see that they have a good safety environment, work environment, and then they enjoy a peaceful atmosphere in the place of work, to be the one to liaise, to represent the employees so that they can carry their issues to the employers and then speak on their behalf. But mainly, they look at collective bargaining. They look at creating an advocate for the welfare of the staff, to make sure that they are not being cheated, and that they have a voice, because they know individually you can't do anything. There must be a body that will regulate, that will speak on their behalf. So they speak on but they are supposed also to be a partner. They're supposed to be a partner to even the employers too, so that both of us can come and reason together. So that's the essence of collective bargaining, regulating the wages and the condition of service and all of that. That's basically what they do. And then to make sure that they are not alone, the employees are not alone.
Okay, so where exactly does the HR fit in when we talk about trade unions? First of all, I'm speaking about HR because I want to come from a place of a very small organization, for example, maybe less than 100 people, or maybe 200 or 300 people, and they might not have a union because people just work and go home and go about their business. But when it comes to collective bargaining and welfare and actually reflecting what the staff wants or people want, where exactly what role does the HR come in when it comes to trade unions such as this for a small organization or big one, as the case may be?
Okay, for big one, it's easier. You know, for HR, you are the link between the employee and the employer. And so you are supposed to be fair and to be in the middle. You understand the collective bargaining, you understand the Trade Union Act, you understand, you deal with Ministry of Labor, you know all of this. And so, I mean, you talk of fairness on the part of the employer, and then you talk of also on the part of the employee, they need to give, you know, based on what they sign and all of that. So the HR is the link person that is supposed to regulate, to be in between, to understand how to deal with this issue, because the first place they come is to come and mostly when you're an industrial relations manager or whatever, they come to lay their complaints, and the union in fact move through the office of the HR person as if they're just, you know, passing in and out on a daily basis, because they believe that you are the one that can carry their grievances or whatever the demands to management. And when you talk of some organizations that are small, it's not even some organizations are big and they're not unionized. Most telecoms in those days were not unionized. And I remember when I was in Marcellus, there wasn't any union there. And then because of that, they became disgruntled and they were doing a lot of things. And I told the management, I said, well, you see, great information is very difficult and it's not good. And, you know, it's disruptive. So what we would do here is to have a JCC, Joint Consultative Committee. And that means they selected and were able to establish that. Not that they joined any union, but they had the internal one that you have representatives of the employees that will come to talk to the representatives of the employers as well. So that we have this JCC. And that's what I normally recommend for people. Fine, you may not have joined any industry, any sector, any union, but then within your organization that you can work effectively, there is a need to have the JCC committee so that, I mean, they bring the grievances of the employees, then the employers also will answer them, then you have your town hall meeting and all of that, and that is the communication flows. And if you don't do that, it becomes disgruntled and then it could be very dangerous. So those are the areas that I look at.
Now, I do know from experience, from experience as a Nigerian, that these unions are constantly at loggerheads, or usually at loggerheads with their employers. We can see that happening with ASU. They are the common, denominator every single year. We got strike in Nigeria, almost like maybe 2 or 3 times a year they go on strike. So it's like a normal thing for it to happen. Even with the NLC and the TUC, that's the Trade Union Congress, they all go out sometimes to protest for maybe the minimum wage or fuel subsidy removal, or could be anything really. What tips can you possibly give to employers to manage these unions to reduce the level of issues and the constant loggerheads that they have all year round?
Okay, like I said, let's look at, I won't use the issue of ASU because ASU is more like it's a wider one, and then because it has to do with public service and then the government itself. So having something to do directly with government and public service sometimes might be a bit difficult. So let's look at let's look at industries. When you look at the industries, the first thing I normally tell people is that the union are there and then the employers are there. You have a common goal. What is the goal? I mean, the goal is that you provide job and then you provide services for them and then you pay them, and then you're supposed to be partners, in this business. And then there's a way you collaborate and then you make them look like team players. And then you need to open this communication line so that they know how it's going. Because if you hide a lot of things from this, mind you, they are well informed. They gather their information very well. So they know beyond what you think they know. They know when you are making money and when you are not making money. So that is why you need to be open with them and then to bring them together. Let's reason together. Sometimes you make them to play a role as if you put yourself in the position of the owner of this organization. What will you do? And some of them are very intelligent, but you need to be open with them. I remember in those days when I was in the textile company, when they come with 10 demands, I will look at the 10 demands and I will tell them, you can't get more than 5. And initially they will say, oh, madam, you are too strict, you are this and that. But over time, they had confidence what I say. If I tell you you will get 5, they know that they will get that 5. It may even turn out to be 6. And then if I tell you can't get it, they know. So then I say it is better when you promise us and you're able to get them, and then you tell us from the beginning you may not be able, and I will give them reason why they can't do that. So when you are open with them, deal with them as partners, and then engage them. Employee engagement is very important. And then let them come, ask them, okay, this is the problem we have on ground. What do you think we should do? You ask them to create scenarios, and you find out that they indirectly will be providing the solution before they knew what is happening. Right, better than even what you yourself will say. Those are the kind of things that we should do. But then they need to trust you, because if the trust relationship is broken and it's not there, there's no way you'll be able to achieve that by doing that. So you need to, you need to understand. I mean, you need to be a bit transparent in dealings, in the dealings. Sometimes I could be very harsh. I will tell them, okay, don't come and give trouble here. You have a job. You are a junior person because you have a job here. So why don't you protect that your job first? What do you prefer? You prefer to have this high thing and then your people are asked to go, or you will retain a lot of people and then we're able to, come to terms, most especially in overtime, in some things that we have to come together to negotiate. You really need to put it on the table and then throw it to them and let them talk. So engage them, employee engagement, and train them. Let them have this sense of belonging. To say, okay, I mean, this company belongs to both of us. If this company goes down, there are a lot of people that will suffer. You as a person will suffer, your family will suffer, and then make them realize that. And you come to table and then you talk together. Treat them like people that you think they have something in their head, not just, oh, this is a union person and they want to foment trouble. I think that will work very well. The communication line must be open, and then you must.
With your experience as a negotiator, would you say an average Nigerian employer respects union laws? Just be honest with us.
I'm not going to say yes, but then again, I won't say no. It's neither here nor there.
Wow.
There's somewhere, but then maybe on a rating of when you talk of 100, maybe 40%, which is just ordinary pass. Let my people go. That means you can't just. I will be very unfair if I say that they don't. You understand? I won't say it's. Sometimes it used to be 60-40, but when things turn, there will be reasons for that. You understand? There will be reasons for things to turn, but then they are not pushing them back. But there are some that they're actually not respecting, and it's not common to everyone. But I don't want to mention some sectors that are actually not even respecting. Take, for example, the issue of casualization. You and I know that thing is so rampant in Nigeria these days that, people would rather want to be a casual worker, at least to have something doing, than to say, okay. But I remember in those days, casualization was a very serious offense, and then you see, doing a picketing and all of that because of casualization. But nobody talks about that anymore, because they believe that you rather have a job doing, whether they call you a casual worker or whatever, than staying at home. So a lot of things are happening that not because they don't want to respect the law, but because of the situation that we find ourselves. So I think that is being fair to both parties.
No problem. We'll take that. We will take it. Can you please state?
But you don't like that as an employee, right?
Well, please state some examples of ways an employer can violate the rules and regulations of trade unions. Give me an example.
Well, sometimes, like I gave you the issue of casualization in those, and then sometimes again when the regulation of period of work, and then the issue of overtime. Some people they misuse that, they abuse that. It's a thing that you can come back and negotiate with your staff, but sometimes they do that. I know, I don't want to mention. I've worked in a place before that because of this issue of overtime, the company was shut down for 2 weeks. And I was advising the management. I said, why don't you do it this way? They said, no, this is the way I want it. I said, okay, if you're not going to respect my view as a person that is there, but I'm telling you that if you don't do it this way, this is the way it's going to end. And the fact, it got to the point where the union was saying, madam, please, you have tried your best, stay away from it, that your management feels that they are rock that cannot be shaken, that we are going to bring dynamite to bring them down. It was as bad as that. Wow. So, but when they saw what happened that year, they started believing all that I would say to them, because they knew that there are certain things you need to be, because they felt that, okay, and they actually told us to go to Minister of Labor. I said, no, if you go to Minister of Labor, you won't get anything else, because most of the time, all those Minister of Labor, NIC, they should be sympathetic towards the employee. I said, going by what we have on ground. If we go there and come back, they will not do anything. They will tell us to sign a memorandum of understanding and go back and go and resolve it inside. I say, if you would let me resolve this thing, we would achieve what we want to achieve, and then they also will be fair to them. They said no, we should go there. But lo and behold, we went there and they told us go back and go and settle and don't retrench anyone. If I had handled it inside, I would have been able to do away with some of the people that wanted
Yeah.
to do away with, and then still be fair to some people.
Yeah.
So you understand what happens there? Because
I do.
sometimes they will believe, oh, we can go to Minister of Labor, we'll have their backing, but they don't have the backing most of the time. So sometimes they tend to do, and then like I said, because of the situation in the country, there are a lot of things that you can't blame them also. The few ones that are still operating wants to break even. I've been in an organization where we had a very big party in December, and by January, my director called us and said the company is shutting down in January, and the staff didn't know. And so we in HR went to go and prepare the gratuity, their terminal benefits, and then when they were coming, the just factory shut down. And we were summoned by Ministry of Trade in those days. And we told them, what's your problem? When we had issue, we were coming to you to tell you that we are having problem with the influx of substandard goods outside, and you didn't do anything. So if I choose to shut down, and it was against this thing to do that,
Yeah.
but the owners brought money and they paid everybody. They weren't owing anybody. They said they cannot break even. So in that instance, are you going to stop them? But remember, we had more than 5,000 employees that were laid off that year.
Wow.
So there are a lot of things like that, but there are some things that you can't really blame them when they do it. Maybe because of some circumstances beyond their own.
So what advice do you have to manage communication between employer and the union? What advice do you have?
Like I said, communication is very, very key. They need to open that dialogue. They need to have meetings where they can exchange views. Like I said, one of the way we were doing it, and which I know so many organizations are doing it, on Friday sometimes they have a town hall meeting. It may not be on a Friday because they will have town hall meetings and people are allowed to talk, and they talk, and sometimes we even have suggestion boards. Sometimes the union representatives also, they come and they come and share. But like I said, there should be openness. There should be openness. There should be this trust. If you don't trust yourself, then there's no way you'll be able to, because when they know that you are actually not deceiving them, by the time there's a problem, they will be the one to come and provide solution. But when they know that these people are always deceiving us, so even when you are not genuine with what you are saying, they won't believe you anymore. So you need to create that employee engage the employees, and then have this let them work collaboratively. Let them build this team spirit. Let them know that you are in it together. That because one day you yourself might become an employer of labor, and so learn it from here now. And then whatever you do here and the way you do this one, you'll be able to go. And so when you make people feel bad, then you reward good what they do. When they do something good, you reward them. You do a lot of things. They will be happy to be there. And then you need to train them also. Train them. Send them on training when you know they are deficient. Not just to work and work and work for you. Let them have benefits that they derive from you. There are some benefits that may not even end you too much, that may not they may not even cost you much. But people needs to be respected, and then to have this sense of belonging. And then by mere even having the best employee of the month or of the year, that one will cheer some people to say, okay, I want to be the best and all of that. You reward honesty, you reward people for doing what you think is good. People would like that. It may not really attract much money, but at least they know that, oh, my organization, believe in me, and then they treat me as part of this place. So I think those are the issues that I think we should look at.
Wow. Thank you so much. It's 5 p.m. on the dot. It's been very, very, enlightening. And my listeners, I believe, are very, very happy. So many employers do tune into this show to get tips on how to manage their workforce and create a very safe environment for everyone to be happy and content, satisfied, and, just keep giving their best and adding as much value to make sure their staff are properly engaged, so to speak. And I do appreciate you for sharing your wealth of experience through this topic with us. And I hope we have you back sometime in the future to help us navigate some other challenges that people experience in the workplace. Thank you so much for joining us today. My guest today is Madam Olusola Bolanle Aigbe. She's a certified mediator and negotiator. I would read her profile again, but it's very long. But you can reach out to her. I'm sure if you search her on Google, you can find her maybe on social media or on LinkedIn or anywhere. Reach out
That's
to her.
right.
Yes. Again, her name is Madam Olusola Bolanle Aigbe. And like I said before, thank you for joining us. Have a beautiful evening.
Thank you so much. I'll be very glad to join you anytime and to share the experience. Thank you very much and have a good evening too.
Thank you. Appreciate you. All
Thank you.
right. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Coming up next at the top of, well, it is the top of the hour, but coming up next shortly is critical thinking with Zeal. So don't go anywhere. The conversation continues. My name is Michelle Ago. Stay with us.